So, you just found Grandpa's old train set in the attic or the basement. Or maybe renewed childhood nostalgia led you to buy a train set from eBay or Facebook Marketplace. But you never had a train set, or it's been so long that you don't remember how to get the old trains running. Where do you start? Never fear! On this episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks, I'll help you get that old train set running again. My focus will be on O and O27 gauge 3-rail trains, but most of the same principles will apply to a train set of any gauge or type. I'm also starting from the assumption that you know the manufacturer of your trains, such as Lionel or Marx, and that it's a set of similar type rather than a mishmash of Lionel, Marx, and other manufacturers. Identifying most models is very simple because they will be marked Lionel lines or have the manufacturer name or logo somewhere on the locomotive or cars. All state trains were only made by Marx. Look for identifying marks on the sides or bottoms of the items. The next step is inventory your items. You should have a locomotive, either steam or diesel, a few cars, possibly a caboose, enough track to make at least a circle, but ovals and figure eights are also common, a transformer, and some type of connector or lock-on to attach the wires from the transformer to the track. For safety's sake, check the transformer first. Check the cord for any cracks, tears, or any kind of breakage in the insulation. If there is any damage, I suggest finding a replacement power supply. Somewhere on your pack it should indicate the output voltage. Most O-gauge trains run on AC current, so you are looking for variable voltage output of a maximum of 15 to 19 volts AC. If your transformer has multiple output options using different post combinations, look for a combination that provides a maximum output of 15 to 19 volts, usually the U and B connection. Some older AC transformers have outputs as high as 25 volts, but this is intended for larger standard gauge trains. If your transformer only lists DC output, you will need to make sure that your locomotive is also DC powered. Lionel made some DC-powered sets in the 1970s and 1980s, such as this one, to reduce costs. For now, don't be concerned with fixed voltage outputs unless your train is a modern remote-controlled set. Your transformer will have a knob or a lever to control the train's speed by controlling the variable voltage output. Turn the speed control all the way up, then use a voltmeter to check that the transformer output is within half a volt or so of the rated power. If not, there may be some internal damage to the transformer and you should find a replacement. Also, for the sake of safety, make sure your transformer has a circuit breaker. Many older models do not. To test the circuit breaker, lay a screwdriver across 2 exposed terminals while the power is turned up. This should trip the breaker immediately. If not, find a replacement transformer or have yours serviced by a trained repair professional. Now check your transformer's power rating, usually in watts or voltamps. Lionel and Marx offered small 25-watt packs for their basic sets. This may be sufficient for a small locomotive, 2 or 3 unlighted cars on a small oval of track. A Lionel whistle or lighted passenger cars will overwhelm this type of pack pretty quickly. I suggest 75 watts as the bare minimum if you intend to run twin-motor locomotives with lights, whistles, and maybe an accessory or two. Your transformer may also include a handle or button to activate horn and whistle sounds and/or a direction button that interrupts power momentarily to cycle the locomotive's reversing unit. Obviously, you should also have a locomotive, either steam or diesel. Check the condition of the locomotive. Are there any missing or broken wheels? Are there missing side rods on the steam locomotive? Look underneath and check for pickup rollers or wipers to collect power from the center rail. The locomotive number can be a clue about the manufacturer and any missing parts. I find the most commonly misidentified steam locomotive is number 1666. Both Lionel and Marx made steam locomotives with the number 1666, and they are very different models. Lionel's is a detailed die-cast 262, while the Marx is a good running but less detailed plastic 242. At this point, try to identify whether your locomotive operates on AC or DC power, especially if your transformer is DC only. Most 3-rail O-gauge trains are designed to run on AC power, but some starter sets of the 70s and 80s were DC only to cut costs. For Marx, look for a can-style motor. All can-motored Marx locomotives operate on DC power, such as the red Lehigh Valley 70-ton switcher number 112. Lionel's DC locomotives were usually 4-wheel diesel industrial switchers, and also some 040, 240, and 242 steam locomotives made in the 70s and 80s. There were also Chuzzy System 442s and New Haven or nickel plate 262 steamers that were made for DC operation. If you're in doubt, try an internet search on the locomotive number for more information. Since the 1990s, most O-gauge locomotives have used can motors, but the locomotives include a rectifier in their electronics package that allows them to operate on AC current. Before I continue, if you are enjoying this video as much as I enjoyed making it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more tips, and let YouTube know that you enjoy this kind of content. Tell your friends and neighbors and leave a comment about your favorite train set. Now, back to the video. Now check the track. O-gauge track has been made in several varieties over the past 100 years. Regular O, O27, Super O, Fast Track, and more. Is the track rusty? Old track can be revitalized using vinegar or other rust-converting chemicals, or you can choose to replace it with new Lionel Fast Track or O-gauge tubular track by Menards. Check the track pins. Each section of track should have 3 pins on one end and no pins on the other. Make sure the pins are there, also that they are straight and clean. If you need to move the pins from one end to another, use a small screwdriver to open up the end of the track, then remove the pins. Once you have your track in place, re-crimp the track with end nippers. This pair came from Harbor Freight for around $6. But where to set up your train set? The floor can work just fine provided there is a hard surface like wood or tile. Avoid laying track directly on carpet as the fibers can get caught in train gears and excess lubricant from the locomotive can stain the carpet. A temporary table can be made using 2 sawhorses and an old door. Or you can build a table for a more permanent installation. Figure out your track plan and lay the track down. Push the ends of the track together as tightly as possible, and also use end numbers to make the connections as tight as possible. Track connections may work themselves loose with the running of the trains, so for a temporary layout, use small zip ties to connect the ties of various sections together. For a permanent layout, small wood screws work well. Remember that you need not secure every single section of track, just as much that's necessary. Toy and model trains get their power through the track. Traditionally, the hot side of the electrical circuit runs through the center rail, while the ground or common side runs through the 2 outside rails, which are electrically tied together through the metal railroad ties, so power to either outside rail actually powers both outside rails. The traditional way to get power to the track is through a powered lock-on that attaches to the rails. There are several different designs, but each is made to allow for easy connection and disconnection of wires to the track. Attach 1 wire to each lock-on connection. I prefer 16 or 18 gauge wires for this, by the way, and attach the other ends to the variable output post on the transformer. On a small layout like this, it doesn't really matter which wire goes to the center rail and which goes to the outer rails. If you do not have a lock-on, the wires can be soldered to the rails, or use an electrical spade connector to run the wires underneath the rails. Power up the transformer and use a voltmeter to make sure the power is getting to the track. Then give the locomotive a spin, slowly at first. If the locomotive doesn't run and you're sure there's power to the track, check the reverse unit lever. Most Lionel locomotives made before 1990 have a lever, either through the top of the model or underneath the locomotive, that controls the reverse mechanism. try sliding the lever to the opposite side and power up again. Most Lionel locomotives feature either a 2-position reverse, forward and reverse positions, or a 3-position reverse which has forward, neutral, and reverse positions. The operation of the unit can be disabled by changing the position of the lever, and sometimes these units can get stuck in neutral. On modern locomotives, a sliding switch under the model performs the same function. Marx locomotives generally feature 2-position reverse, but with no lockout mechanism. Now check the rolling stock. Are the couplers compatible? If not, you may have a mix of Lionel and Marx items. Lionel made a variety of operating knuckle couplers and some non-operating types. All of theirs are completely compatible except for the Scout-type couplers that were produced between 1948 and 1953. In the video description, there is a link to a video about these and how they may be modified to work with regular Lionel couplers. If you run across an operating knuckle coupler that won't stay closed, wrap a small rubber band around the coupler shaft. I found a bag of 300 at my local Dollar Tree for $1.25. Also, check that the wheels are properly seated in their trucks and that they roll freely. On metal trucks, the wheel journals may need a bit of oil to help them move freely. That applies to locomotives too. Add oil to wheel bearings and grease to gears. 2-in-1 oil is okay as oil, but I prefer Labelle oils with their long applicator tubes. I also use plastic-safe lithium grease for the gears. Also, a little oil on the armature shaft of the motor is vital for long locomotive life. And those are the basics for running conventionally powered Lionel and Marx trains. Once you feel confident in running this set, there's a whole world of different locomotives, cars, structures, and operating accessories to explore. Watch YouTube channels like this one to learn new techniques and tips. Most of all, keep the trains running, and we'll catch you next time with more toy train tips and tricks.